Salam alaikum and marhaba. And thanks indeed for taking your time and being here. And hopefully that you enjoyed the lunch. It's a great pleasure to be here. And thanks indeed to the organization of the World Football Summit, that is led by Jana Lisi and Marian Otamendi, as well as their very professional team, including Monica, Josephine, and so forth, and so on. And it is a great pleasure, and thanks indeed for all the distinguished and esteemed members of this panel to be here. And we'll do our best. I'm pretty much sure that it will be a very, very interesting panel. First of all, and at most, I would like to introduce each of our distinguished and esteemed panelists, starting by Asia. Asia, she's the CTO of Global Technology Innovation at Lenovo. As Lenovo, by the way, is a sponsor of FIFA. Right? So looking forward to what's happening in June. By the way, I'm from Spain. The vast majority of you are from Saudi. Let's see what happens in June in Atlanta. Anyway, she studied at the National University, and she used to work at, among other, EdTech Global Services, Gujarat Alkalis and Chemicals Limited, HP, and Lenovo since 2012. So very welcome, Asia. Secondly, we have Jose Collado from Spain. He's the head of international sports projects at Sevilla FC Football Club, one of the most important clubs in Spain and Europe. He studied at the Universidad de Valencia, and he used to work at Real Madrid Foundation, Al Ahly FC in Qatar, Aspetar, also in Qatar, and Sevilla FC since 2018. Bienvenido, Jose. Thanks indeed for taking your time. Next, Majdi Allulu. He's the founder and CEO of Grintafy. He used to study at the University of Central Florida, United States. He used to work at, among other, Tashil, Opco Advisory, Safinat Technologies, Sportify, Pala D7, and since 2018, he created and founded these very beautiful initiatives called Grintafy that afterwards I would like you, Majdi, to share with the audience, distinguished audience, the origin of this name as well. So welcome as well. Salam alaikum. And last but not least, obviously, Jamil Ahmad. He's the capability development at HPE, Hewlett Packard Enterprise. He studied at the Cathedral Composite PU College and High School, and he used to work at AGS, Optimics, and since 2015 at HPE, Hewlett Packard Enterprise. It's a great pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much, Jamil. Shukran. So, the title is basically about AI, artificial intelligence. Before moving forward and granulate a little bit about the topic itself, I would like, as a kind of icebreaker question, and starting maybe with Asia, and then we go that way, to talk or to highlight what are the main evolution over the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years in the sport industry from a talent player identification perspective.
Sure.
Asia,
Assalamu alaikum
please.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Technology has been evolving since 100 plus years, we all know that. Especially in sports, in last 10 years, it has dynamically changed the era. A sport that was just an on-ground sport where people used to scout, know athletes, hire them for the teams, have completely changed. The technology has taken up a forefront where you use technology to assess the players, you use technology to see their performances, and I think technology is growing even more, which we will discuss in upcoming questions that Carlos has, but I think the dynamics have completely changed from what it was 10 years ago.
Thank you, Asia. Jose, what are your opinions about the last 5 to 10 years in terms of how to identify talent, especially on the pitch?
Salam alaikum. The main idea, as you know, in the past probably was more focused the intuition of the scout, right? Nowadays we are more this change in the global intelligence. In the past, we were more focused that this scout is on live in the pitch, watching the games in direct, no? contacts that people from different area call you, look, I have this guy, come to check, it is a good player. It was very important, the geography, because probably if they are far of us, it's difficult because we are not able to achieve there. And of course, we don't have objective metrics that nowadays we have. What happened now? Now we have data that is very important, that we can compare players around the world. We have videos that we can find in seconds, videos from players from around the world again. And of course, a kind of global platform like Grintafy, okay, that they can share to the world the opportunity for the players as we are looking in different players, in different clubs. In my opinion, it's like 10 years ago, you must be in the right place, in front of this scout, and nowadays you have the opportunity just to be in the right digital platform, right? That's why it is my idea or our idea in the club.
Thanks indeed, Jose. Majdi, but before your opinion, can you share with the distinguished and esteemed audience as well the origin of Grintafy and what's the meaning of, and then what have been the main highlights over the last 5 to 10 years in terms of the process to identify talent, especially on the pitch?
So thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all for coming. I think I'll answer the first question first, and then I'll talk about Grintafy because it just follows the journey. So in my opinion, the talent discovery in the past 10 years has changed dramatically. And I do believe that it changed dramatically in different parts of the world. So we know that in Europe and part of Europe is way more advanced than it is here in the Middle East or maybe in South America or Latin America. I truly believe that in the old days, my days, being scouted was something very, very complex, very hard. And as Jose said, you have to be in the right time, in the right place for someone to see you. And that's a pain point that I lived it personally in the old days. And I think throughout what we do as a company or as a product, we try to develop technologies, we try to enable these young kids with the tools they need to kind of be discovered faster than our time. So that's why really Grintafy was developed and was established. It's a place where young players get to create their own football CV. They get to build it by using the product. It's a tool where it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what location you're in, it doesn't matter what economical status you have. It's a tool that you can use, and we have a lot of success stories where people are scouted and they're right now playing the national team because of technology. So I think the ecosystem has developed dramatically in the past 10 years. There's a lot of more way to go, but I think we're on the right steps forward.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Majdi. Jamil, what's your opinion about the evolution over the last 5 to 10 years?
Look, I would add, I think they covered most of it, but I will add a few things. We are like in the technology company. So I know the most important thing in AI and technology is actually data. So if you have a good data, you could really extract whatever you want. But if you have a good methodology, a good algorithm to extract these data and information, you could come up with even ratings for people so that you could obviously you could find it anywhere. So maybe Grintafy platform will help you with that. I think we are just starting to get more with AI as it is evoluting now, and it is the start of really something that maybe we could we can't imagine what's going to happen in a few years. It's accelerating very fast.
Thank you, Jamil. What do you say if I say that data is useless?
Data is what?
Useless.
Okay.
That the most important thing is not data, but is information? No. It is knowledge? No. It is the information that you have in order to make better decisions and quicker decisions. Do you agree in this that data is not the important thing? It is just the, let's say, the root material that you need in order to generate information, which is converted to knowledge to make better and quicker decisions. Do you agree in this flow, Asia?
So I'll be fired if I say data is garbage. I would say garbage in, garbage out. So that's why technology companies, data engineers, data experts are there, where you have an asset. It's like you have an iron, you build a car out of it. You need engineers who look at this asset, convert it into the real data sets that you can analyze, that can become your real dollars, I would say, and then you convert it into the dynamics that you want. Like, for example, Majid took an opportunity and created Grintafy because he saw that data can help him convert a huge business where he can see the player scouting as an opportunity. We as a technology company use data to build the infrastructure solutions where I can host them, I can analyze them, I can create chat agents, I can do AI algorithms, and I can create some automation, right? So I think it is an asset and not something that is not useful. So, but I always say, use it in a right way, otherwise garbage in, garbage out, right? So.
I was exaggerating to motivate this debate, okay? Obviously, it's kind of oil of the engine.
There you go.
You need. Jose, what's your call?
Sorry. I agree 100%. The artificial intelligence arrived to help us. And of course, if you focus in the different profiles that we have in the sports industry, for example, if we are focusing in a coach, the coach needs the best information in the best format, but in the quick and very quickly. Why? Because in a few days, imagine that they are playing La Liga, Champions and La Liga, in 2-3 days, he must take new decision with the data of the last day. It is just an example. Fitness coach in the similar way, you need to check your data of your players because you need to create the load management of your players in the next week. But the scouts, for example, in the same idea, no? Sometimes probably we think that artificial intelligence will do the work of the scout, but no. In my opinion, the artificial intelligence will reduce this percentage of mistakes, we can say, or the hero or the scout, no? And not just it, we can talk about injury prevention, no? Because we can manage the load management of the players, we can think more or less which is the situation of the player, if he will be injured, if he must stop before, if we need to reduce kind of time. That's why, in my opinion, and I was focused a little bit more in the profiles on the pitch, I agree 100% because the artificial intelligence is here to support us and to minimize the error in our decisions.
Thank you. Majdi, what's your opinion?
I'm trying
Data,
to think.
information, knowledge.
I think you have a trick question here. Data that is garbage, just like Aisha said, it's garbage, right? So data is important, but what data is needed is the point. So data that players use for their tracking is something, data that the coaches need is something else. And I do believe that we can't do anything without data, but proper data, right? So applying the proper technologies, applying the proper tools to read these data properly is the way forward. And AI, we all use AI, we all use different engines. Without proper data, they can't tell you what to do or they can't suggest anything. So the data that is relevant is what's important. And the more data points you collect with players' performances, the better scouts and agents and federations can make decisions. The more content you have, the better it is for everyone involved. So yes, data can be useless if it's irrelevant, but it's needed to make proper decisions.
Fully agree. Data, the proper data, but also quicker data.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
Even in real time.
Of course.
And that helps decision makers to make right decisions.
Of course.
And save money and time. Jamil, what's your call here?
Look, as maybe I mentioned earlier, data is very important, very important. But as mentioned here, the quality of data is needed, and also there are lots of data scientists, and AJ maybe knows very well, data scientists that to validate this data. So, and also in the future, the AI algorithms will qualify these data if they are okay or they throw it away. And the advancement in AI these days comes from two things. Data that are collected a lot, and the most important that's advanced a lot is the hardware. Hardware is now very fast. So NVIDIA was booming, if you know NVIDIA, because they are almost dominant in this market. And their GPU, and maybe now with Google TPU, is processing data in speed that unimaginable. But look, you need a lot of hardware. You need a lot of speed to think, to correlate, to analyze, and to predict. So these things to think as a human, or maybe, of course, faster than a human, to resolve problems that are taking maybe years, 10 years ago, now you can resolve it in seconds. So the advancement in technology, especially in the infrastructure, with the data is very important. Without data, we can do nothing, actually. But we can also get rid of the bad data.
We all agree that data is very, very important, but is a kind of raw material to gather information,
Yes.
to gain knowledge in order to make quicker and best decisions. Do you agree? Yes. So
Agree.
obviously data is not useless, for sure. But this incentivizes a kind of debate, isn't it? Good. And you mentioned NVIDIA. I have some very, very few shares of NVIDIA, and I'm very, very happy about the performance. Anyway, let's
Hopefully you bought it 1 year ago at least.
Yes. 3 years ago, yes. But unfortunately, only few, unfortunately. Anyway, that's not the point today here. Let's talk about the talent on the pitch identification process. We have several actors here, or stakeholders of the ecosystem. We have the coaches, obviously we have the players, we have scouters, we have everything related to medical, nutrition, physical conditions, which is also important. We have the football agents, very, very important in select countries. We have obviously the clubs, federations, media, grassroots and events organizers, etc. How do you think that technology, and especially AI, can add value to this ecosystem? And especially which ones of these stakeholders are benefiting from AI mostly?
I think very good question. The whole point is about democratizing the whole data that we have, bringing the visibility of individual on page, off page from remote areas. You don't really need to stay by Spain or Madrid to be looked at from a big football leagues, but somebody sitting far remote where football is not the major game can also be looked up. The point is that data, video, all these things allow the coaches, the leagues, the panels to look into it and find out the talent that is sitting across the borders, across the social dynamics, across the countries as well, right? What I would also like to highlight here is AI has put us on the steroids, to be very honest. Data was there, machine learning was there years ago, right? But AI has made us understand that you can now replicate the whole data into multiple different views, which can be used by different people. I think until 2020, we used to just analyze the data. With the AI, the predictive analysis has taken the step up, where you now can see the data, but at the same time predict what's going to happen. As you mentioned, coaches can see a player performing today through video, through his body analysis, through his shots that he's playing. The coach can decide what position this person can play or which team this person would fit in future. As a medical professional, you can see that he's hitting shots in certain way. That means he's prone to an X or Y injury, right? So I think that's where data is going to help. It is helping today, but the leagues and organizations are seriously looking into it, into how you can further predict. And the third stage is you analyze, you predict, and how do you rectify that? So that's where the whole game is for the AI. So I do see things are still probably in the mid zone. In next 2-3 years, this is going to change even further. So AI is currency that we need to run the technology, and it's not going anywhere. Rather, it's like shares of NVIDIA. It's going to keep growing up and up.
Thank you, Asia. Jose, we have all these type of stakeholders within this ecosystem: coaches, scouters, medical nutrition, football agents, clubs, federations, media, grassroots event organizers, etc. How AI and or technology, you're speaking, is helping, is adding value to the equation?
Yeah, finally in this industry, I think all the stakeholders can take advantage, of course, of the artificial intelligence. Just they need to manage well the information. As I was talking before, probably nowadays before the scout was more something, the art of the scout, the intuition. Now with all the information that they have, with the metrics, that we can achieve metrics regarding how is the player in, I don't know, in the offensive situation, in the defensive situation, in the transitions, how is his behavior with the ball, how is his behavior without the ball, because not just we need to focus in the player with the ball, we need to focus in the player sometimes when the player is on the other side of the pitch, no? Because finally we are playing 11 and maybe the space is in the other place. That's why nowadays, with all this information, for example, the scout is not an art, now it's more a scientific way. Regarding, for example, as I said before, the injury prevention in Sevilla Football Club, we are trying to develop under our department of data a kind of APP that we can know the real situation of each player day by day, regarding the load, regarding the GPS, regarding the games, okay? But not just it. We need to focus too in the grassroots. Probably sometimes it's difficult because we don't have probably the same budget or the same technology in the academies, but for example, we use a lot, we record every training, every game, and we try to create a pathway, an individual pathway for each player. Why individual? Because each generation there are 20, 25 players that finally on the first team will be each year one or no one. That's why we need to focus in detail of each one, and that's why the artificial intelligence is helping us to try to develop the players as much as individual possible, because I believe that this is the key in the professional or in the grassroots. You must individualize as much as possible with the information that the artificial intelligence is giving. And as they say, finally, the last decision is from us. Finally, the last decision is the human, is the person who take care of that. And that's why it's more or less my idea.
Thanks so much indeed, Jose. Majdi, what's your opinion?
So before I assess how AI is helping these stakeholders, I'll take a step backward and talk about how tech help these stakeholders make their life easier. We truly believe that the solutions or the technologies that are currently available, whether it was Grintafy or other platforms or maybe other wearables, it's just making decision-making or finding proper talents that much faster. We spoke before that it was very difficult for us back in the day to be discovered. We do believe that technologies has bridged the gap for these clubs, for these scouts, for these coaches to find proper talents. We do believe that talents now have more of an opportunity to kind of showcase what they do. Doesn't matter if they have money, they don't have money, they can travel. Somebody is going to see you using technology. So now that's an era that's been used for a while, and I'm happy to say that Grintafy has been doing it for some time now, and we're able to gain the trust of a lot of players, a lot of stakeholders from everybody that you just said, federations, clubs, and scouts. And I think now the new era is going to be powered by AI. I mean, I know AI is kind of a term that's been overused now, and everybody's using it for anything, but I do believe it's the natural next step for any platform. You do have to have an engine that kind of speaks smart to these scouts, to these coaches, and each one of the stakeholders you talked about has different needs. So a scout might not look technically on what the players are doing. A technical coach would want more analytics, would want more performance-related information that kind of help him make decisions. And I think applying AI over good data is going to be so powerful that we can't move forward without having AI. It's just going to make clubs' life much easier. It's going to make scouts' life easier and the coaches. So the coach doesn't have to see 200, 500 players to pick two. AI will filter this for you. It will tell you who to see. It will predict the information for you. And that's everything going to be, hopefully, I can get to talk about Grintafy X, and that's what it's all going to be about.
Let me ask you one additional question in regards to what you have said. You have mentioned coaches, you have mentioned clubs, you have mentioned scouters, but the same information eventually is also available for football agents as well as for agents, right? And at some point and at some extent, they are seated in the other side of the table, especially football agents. How do you manage this? Because everybody has more data, good data, not data, good data, in order to gather more information and be more knowledgeable about, for example, one single player. But the football agents has also the access to this data. How do you manage this?
So agents don't have access to all the data, and from my perspective, or from the platform that we're using, each stakeholder has different set of data that he has access to. Nobody has access to everything but me. I have access to everything. But yeah, so the clubs have certain information that they're looking for. Agents that we work with, also they have certain information, but we know that coaches, they look at different data. Maybe others looking at age, looking at trends, looking at behavior. The coaches are looking for more technical details. They're looking for performance metrics that maybe agents don't see. And I truly believe schools are different. So in Spain, they might think that this 15-year-old is a great player, but in Holland, maybe not. So different schools, different ways of looking at the players. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Jamil.
Yeah, look, I think technology will help coaches, for example. There are, as mentioned, everyone will look at his own interest. And basically, coaches, for example, they can emulate a match and decide what's going to happen. So the AI engine can help him emulate or make a digital twin. So digital twin of a match. And then can he decide what to do? And if I did this action, then the other side, what will be reacting to, and the more clear data and accurate data, it will help him make a decision for the next match. Players, for health, for example, the risk of being injured, the risk of predictability of these actions in the future. So if you have this information, if you have sensors with each player, then you collect the data and you could predict that this player, if he plays another match, he will be injured. So you could avoid these things with the more information that you have and correlation. So we know in technology we need a lot of data and a lot of correlations so that we could do a good predictions. So it's like a human. So if you have more information, you have more experience. So all people, they have experience. So because they have a lot of data that could relate, and from their experience, they know this path is wrong, then they have to go to another path. So similar stuff. So this will be very helpful to coaches, for players, for different stakeholders.
We have only a couple of minutes. Just a brief question, a devil advocate question for all of you, okay? Imagine that you are a club, you represent a club, and you need to hire a player, a very, very important player. But a player is actually a person, right? A person, a human being with technical skills, obviously, that can be analyzed, but also hard skills, management skills in terms of pressure, soft skills in terms of leadership, teamwork, empathy, resilience, commitment, etc. And also, it is not the same player to play in Sevilla or Betis, as a matter of example. It is not the same. At what extent AI can also identify and guide the club in regards to these soft skills, corporate culture elements that at the end of the day have also an impact on the overall performance of that player in that specific player. 30 seconds each, or otherwise I will be killed by the organizers.
I will try to be quickly. Of course, it is very important because for me the talent, without a mentality competitive, there are no talent. Without leadership, there are no talent. Without all the soft skills that we say, there are no talent. That's why, for example, in Sevilla Football Club, regarding our psychologist area, we are trying to develop these metrics that probably is something that is not visual, but we are trying to create this profile or psychological profile for the players that we are signing because, as we say, maybe the talent that works in Sevilla Football Club will not be good in Saudi, in Netherlands, or whatever, right? That's why from our psychological department, we are working to create this profile.
Thank you.
I don't think AI will identify everything. I don't think they will go into soft skills. I think end of the day, AI is a tool. If we use it properly, it will give us some good results that we can work with. End of the day, we have to see the player and the coach. We have to see how he integrates with other players, technically, teamwork, Grinta. So a lot of things cannot be identified by AI. AI is cool. It has to be used correctly. It has to be used the right way. End of the day, it's our decision who's going to make it to the team.
It helps. It helps.
Well, look, if the data about this player, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo, everyone knows about him a lot, yeah? So if you have a data, it's digitized, it's in the system, then an AI can help here. So if a player known as you know, he's angry in the field or whatever, it's well known, and the AI could predict what he's gonna be doing, you know, with age, you know, because the people with age, they change. So the more data that you have, the more intelligence you could conclude.
Absolutely.
I'll keep it short for sure.
20 seconds, please.
Yeah. Sentimental analysis is one thing that comes out of AI. And I think that can give you a good idea about how a player is performing in a given pressure in a situation, or how a player is performing against a given club or a league can give you some analysis. Again, I would not rely 100% on AI, though I'm a technology person. I would say that you need a human to assess the soft skills, because I think we are still heading to that, as I said, in 2 years, yes. Another thing I would like to highlight is when you're doing the bioskeletal analysis during a pressure situation, that gives you some nervous system analysis from a medical front that will also give you an idea on how a pressure situation is happening. Again, it's not 100%, but it helps you in predicting what could happen in the next game. But you never know in 2 years.
You never know.
Yeah.
What we know is that this is the end of the panel. Thanks indeed, Asia, Jose, Majdi, and Jamil. Please join me with a very, very warm applause to these distinguished and esteemed panelists. And now the next panel is about stadium sustainability and mobility, so that it will be very, very interesting as well. Thank you.